Good morning. It's Kim, Zone 4B, upstate New York. It's time for our Sunday morning walk through the garden. And there's a lot popping today as far as flowers go. A lot of yellow in the garden right now. But if I'm being honest, a little too much yellow. Need a little more of the coneflower pop of color. So we'll work on that. But lots of daylilies, the summer eyes, or green eyes, Rudbeckia, the lavender is beautiful. Popping next to that yellow. Purple and yellow look great together. And then I moved 2 coneflowers. This one handled it way better than the other one. I'll show you in just a second. It has a little bit of burn on the leaves. I did move them on like the hottest day so far this year. I want to say that's the Pow Wow Wildberry. But if somebody thinks it's something else, feel free to leave a comment in the below. That one did very well. The other one, the first one I moved, took it a little harder. Has a lot more brown on the tips. We still have our whole, full confession, I probably order 95% of my plants online from all different sources, including Etsy. So I want to say I do support the small business owner. We are out in the country, so there's nobody really local to me except for some roadside stands, which I do buy stuff from. They just don't usually have the selection, of course. Or we do have an Amish shop close by, about 7 miles away, that does even carry some Proven Winners in the Proven Winners pots. I'm not sponsored by Proven Winners, but I do have a ton of Proven Winners plants, excuse me, sorry. You'll see my lily beetle is really like, oh, look at all of them on there this morning. All over that lily. These lilies in this front bed have suffered more than any. But yeah, there's a ton of them even on the back sides of the leaves. Pretty much everywhere you look at that plant. I would love to squish them, I'm not gonna lie, but since I'm videoing and using one hand already, I don't want them to just fall to the ground. I want them dead, I'm not gonna lie. Moving on, the Stand By Me clematis is still rocking. Rocking, love it. We have more lavender. Love it, love it. I have some, these are ruby spider daylilies that are getting ready to pop there. So that'll be a pop of red for a bit too. But see what I'm saying with that color of the coneflower? Love that with the yellows. So I would like to get a lot more of that color in here. There's the other one I moved into that hole where I had taken out the daffodil. Believe it or not, I didn't pull up any bulbs. Seems like I got it kind of right in the middle of all the daffodils. But this one has a lot more browning on the leaves. But I mean, they looked really mad. Drooping terribly. So they have rebounded. I want to say I moved them maybe Monday. So it took them a few days to recover. Still have a hibiscus there that I haven't planted. Not quite sure. It's the evening rose where I want to plant that. Going up the flower bed, just a ton of color. More of the Stand By Me clematis mixed in with the Stella d'Oro daylilies. And as I've said before in my previous videos, they are not my favorite daylily, but they are very prolific. They're the perfect size. And every time, and I have taken, so they went all the way down the path. And I'm not gonna lie, sorry about my used car lot there. It's not really, that's just a joke in our family. I had this was all filled with hostas and the Stella d'Oros. I had them mixed. That was my very first attempt at gardening here, and the hostas got burned out so bad because it's full sun. I had to move all the hostas out. So then it was all just the Stella d'Oro daylilies, and it was too much. So I've put in some different daylilies. But as you can see, I really like lush and full. Don't like a lot of spaces. This space is really getting on my nerves. But when you order online, you have to try to be patient with the shipping. And the 2 plants I've ordered for there are not even supposed to ship until tomorrow. Probably because of the 4th of July weekend, the holiday and stuff, because I ordered them before that. But we have had a lot of heat, and it really can affect plants and shipping, so I shouldn't complain. So needless to say, I'm trying to make this fuller, because ever since I've had to revamp this bed, it's a little too bare for me. And that is what's prevented me from taking more of those Stella d'Oro daylilies out of there. That candy corn Spirea is bouncing back. It's got a lot of new leaves on it now. Doing much better. But I'm telling you, these right now, I think probably my favorite are the Stand By Me clematis. So many blooms this year. This is the 2nd or 3rd year maybe. So every year they've just gotten bigger and more blooms. I have some gladiolus coming up that come back for me every year. Even though I'm zone 4B, I do not have to dig up the corms. So happy about that. As you can see, the clematis are rocking it. I want to say that's light blue variety. It does open up really full the older the bloom gets, as you can see. And I do have weeds down in there, I know. But they're still kind of pretty. I love the shape of those leaves on that weed. So there it stays. But that is really, really popping right now, that clematis. And the hydrangea. It's purple. Sometimes it's got a little bit of pink and a little bit of purple in it. But this year it looks like it's mostly purple. And that's one that blooms on old wood, so fortunately for me, I'm getting blooms. Very sporadic with our heavy snow load. They usually die completely back to the ground. So very thankful. Very thankful. I did pin back the hollyhocks like I said I was going to. It's the first year I've actually done it, and I'm not really impressed with how I did it. You'll see one is starting to bloom in there. Not my favorite color, only because it blends too much with the color of the house. I have a lily down in there that's not suffering from the lily beetle. It almost seems like the fuller that you plant them, the less tortured they get. I don't know if it's because the lily beetle can't find them, hasn't found it yet. I don't know. Camouflaged. More roses. Oh, and here's the little bloom by the fairy that I wanted to bloom right in front of her. Can you see her in there? She's actually kind of getting buried by the clematis. All right. The lamium that's coming out on the sidewalk is starting to die off a little bit, so I don't know if it's just waiting on a new flush. Quick look in on the porch. It's kind of a mess. My delphiniums that I'm growing from seed are doing really well. And yes, I know they were planted very late. I have some grapes that I'm gonna plant out. They came in the mail this week in that extreme heat. The one lost its leaves, but right here. But it had a lot of nice roots, so I'm gonna see if it'll push out some new leaves for me. Window box. The coleus is finally really starting to go for it. Starting to peek out. House plants are doing well. I had used a good third of the trough of water. We got a nice little downpour that filled it back up again for my plants. Very convenient for watering my plants here in the front yard. All right. Try not to make you dizzy. Here's this. I never really show this view, I guess. This is coming out our front door. Looking down behind. That's where I throw all of my deadheading stuff. Then I have this little container that's got coleus, petunias, impatiens, and a yew in the middle. There's also a hydrangea tucked in there that looks like it's going to have a little pink on it. Deadhead this coleus while I'm here. It's starting to go to seed. Has a light pink double petunia in there. Not my favorite. It was some seeds that I had left over, so I went with it. This is mostly shade corner, as you can tell, probably from the plants. This was a self-planted, I have no idea. No idea where that hosta came from. I must have had another hosta there that I dug up and a piece got left behind. But it's the only one that's that color. So who knows with me. All right, back down the path. I noticed that my tater tot arborvitaes they actually touch now. I should probably put another one in there maybe in that hole. But coming around, this one thing I have not mastered yet is mowing lines. Trying to mow around corners and get everything mowed and not run over plants. Here's this Sun King Aralia. It's doing really well there. I mean, I feel like it's doubled in size just this season since I planted it there. I was concerned it wouldn't hold its own with the hostas, but it sure is, and I love the pop of color there. Still not convinced this hosta's gonna stay. It's just not my favorite. Poor hosta. I mention it almost every time. Window box doing well. The gold mound Spirea, still a bee magnet. The banana tree, looking way healthier, but still hasn't grown tall. But it's got nice healthy leaves now. Oh, the tattered ones are still down behind there, but it's looking beautiful. Oh, and I don't know if we can capture this. The clematis has grown now way above the arborvitae. I guess I didn't really count on that, I'm not gonna lie. And it's too tall for me to do anything with, like train it to come excuse me, train it to come back down. So we'll see what happens. Still have some flowering in the limelight hydrangea, which is also starting to bud up now. It's exciting. Another lily there that used to be hidden by the hydrangea, but I formed that into a tree shape form hydrangea, and it really cleaned out underneath that. Gave me some opportunity to plant some more in there, but I haven't. Another Stand By Me clematis over here. I think this one is actually a year younger. It does need to be staked up. It's flopping over. They're a bush clematis. So unless you have a lot of plants around them to prop them up. Over there I only have one staked, trellised, because the plants keep them propped up, and I like them to mix in with the plants. So there's that. I'm kind of thinking about I need more color this time of year here. I do have the lady's mantle, Alchemalamalus, and I have some roses. Well, I'll show you in a minute, but I'm thinking about maybe putting some coneflowers, echinacea in there too. I really am kind of transitioning to more of the hotter, warmer colors. I've always been more of a cottage garden. You can see a lot of pinks and purples, but like the hot pink and the fuchsia, There's some, I don't remember what roses these are, but they're just starting. They get an awful lot of shade underneath this tree. Trimmed back, I forgot to mention over there, trimmed back my cat's mint nepeta and my salvia, my May-night salvias. So they'll reflush, bloom again. I think I'm going to do a rejuvenation prune on these. I think they're sweet spire shrubs in the fall or next spring. They're just not as full as they used to be. Daylily blooming. Roses are already flushing out a ton of new blooms. That's the Morden Blush. The delphiniums are going over. They have a little bit of side shoots coming there. I should probably take that bloom stalk off. I did move this hardy hibiscus out from underneath the hosta. And the stems seem really weak. I don't know if it's just because I moved it, or they could just be bent because they were growing underneath the hosta. I have one that's still trying to grow there underneath the hosta. I should reach in and try to prop it up with the hosta maybe. There we go. So it can get some sunlight, hopefully bloom. I have, oh, the eyeliner lilies are getting ready to bloom, or they're already blooming. You know what's a little disappointing? They don't seem to have the eyeliner trademark as much as the very first year. Let me see if I can. The brown trim. They have a little more on the inside of the bloom. They are really tall. They are as tall, if not tall, they're taller than I am. So it's really kind of hard to see. I have a funky looking caterpillar. See if I can get it in focus here. See if you all know what kind of a caterpillar it is. It blends with the leaf. Why can't I see it in the camera? There it is. What kind of a caterpillar is this, folks? It says, so I Googled it, tried to Google it. It says it's some kind of a moth, but I don't know. It's supposed to be on, that is supposed to be helenium. I don't know. I found helenium out in my one garden. I call it my forgotten garden because it's forgotten. It looks forgotten, let's put it that way. And it's not near as tall as that, and so I don't know. Tempted to pull those out because they're probably just weeds. But I did have helenium planted there. That's what makes me hesitate. Hosta's blooming. I have a couple verbena Bonariensis scattered throughout that are blooming. They're really only beautiful when they're in mass, in my opinion. I need more than just, well, there'll be 3 there, but you know what I'm saying? I need more of it, is what I'm saying. That's the new Sun King Aralia down there. I think it's grown. I still haven't moved that. Well, I think it's Autumn Joy. Sedum. Man, it took me a minute there. The yarrow is blooming. It amazes me. There's so many different colors. This clearly looks pink. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's, I planted these from seed years ago. Sometimes in certain lights they look purple. I have a lily down there that is a really dark burgundy that I don't remember planting. I don't know. Maybe it's like the Hosta. I planted it and I just don't remember. So now I'm curious, is this one here going to be burgundy? Because I'm sure I planted the purple prince. So maybe that's what they're calling purple prince, but that is not purple to me. That is dark, dark burgundy. And back there, I guess we'll have to wait and see when they bloom. A lot of foliage going on over here. Still have some foxglove blooming. Strawberries are still rocking. I use them as a ground cover in a lot of spots. There's the new rose of Sharon. It's not bloomed yet. And the Hosta that I moved here next to the weeds is doing exactly what I thought it would. It would burn out. So I might plant a rhubarb there. Need something with big leaves that can tolerate a lot of sun. Got some weeds in there too, and boy, oh look, the I can't think of the name of it, is starting to bloom. And it's a very red bloom, so sometimes I'm not sure about the color red. I'm not a huge orangey red fan, but I love the blooms on it, and it's just so unique. And it spreads, obviously. Also, I don't think it was rated for my zone. It was a zone 5. But it clearly, I mean, I think I planted this one clump was all. And it is taken over that section. Which it's a bulb or a corm, so kind of amazes me how it can spread like that. If I think of it, I'll put the name up for you. All right, on to the side yard. Man, something smells awesome over here. Wonder if it's still the honeysuckle, but there's not much. I have some roses. Beautiful color. Some coneflowers over here. A ton of buds on there. The Superbena is finally starting to do something in that container. I want to say that's Superbena bright blue. Not 100% sure. Sweet potato vine still looks about the same. The Prince Tut grass. It's doing okay. I see I have a weed in there. I'm gonna pull it, which I don't normally, we know, pull weeds, but that one is huge. Need to trim up that iris foliage. It's looking kind of ratty. Same thing with this foxglove. It's gone over. As you can see, I come through and I bend it over so that when the seeds dry, it's easier for them to fall out and replant. I would love to move that coneflower to the front yard, but I'm trying to be patient. I have like 9 of them coming, but they're only going to be little starts, so they're not going to bloom this year. That's why I moved to the other 2. It may happen. I just hate to make it look angry, but I love the size of that one too. It's so tall. That one's about 3 feet tall. It would really tower over those stelladoros and really show up. I might do it. I don't know. My midnight masquerade is blooming. Penstemon. Cute little blooms. My gold mop cypress is burning out a little bit. Not sure what that's about, because this one wouldn't get any more sun than the other one. Maybe it's because the other one's more mature. I don't know. Maybe it needs more water. I do find evergreens one of my most difficult things to grow. Honeysuckle still blooming a little bit. Some daylilies getting ready to pop there, but haven't yet. My Lady of Shalott is still blooming. I have another coneflower here, but I don't know the color of it. Pretty sure they're all pink that I planted last year. I had trouble getting coneflowers to come back, so I thought, but I think the problem was that I was digging them up in the spring thinking they were weeds. Ah, Lady of Shalott, you are so beautiful. The perfect colors combined. Need to do a little more deadheading on that one. My rhubarb that I transplanted that was completely mad and looked dead is bouncing back. I got 2 leaves there that have a will to live. Munstead wood. Rose still blooming. A little bit. Buds still on there. I did take out this daffodil foliage that was a mess. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to plant there now. Not going to lie, I'm on a bit of a coneflower run. So I do know there's more room there. Problem is then I'll end up with too many coneflowers, if that's a thing, and that'll bug me too. But that's the love. That's why I have the love of gardening. There's always an opportunity for change. Try something new. There's some more of those potential weeds I'm growing, thinking they're helenium. Don't see any obvious signs of that caterpillar on these. I'm wondering if whatever this is, it's a host for that moth, a host plant. Still have some white foxglove. Some that are going over there that I need to gold-mouthed Spirea. Nepeta, I haven't trimmed back this Nepeta. It seemed to be a little bit further behind than the front yard one. The millennium alliums are starting to bloom. The fudge, apricot fudge lilies are going over. Bunch of yellow petunias growing in there. Just, I do not like that container at all this year. Here is daylily blooming. Beautiful blooms. That one I want to say is green turtle key. Let's see. It does have a tag. The tag is loose. Yep, green turtle key. I need to fix that tag so it doesn't get lost. I have ordered some nameplates. We'll see. I just don't. I've hesitated because I'm not sure how they'll hold up in our winters. I have some foxgloves down there that have self-seeded. Not sure what color, what ones have self-seeded. But that's always nice. The pin cushion or scabiosa are still flowering, still doing their thing. I have a rose back there that I don't know the name of that's blooming. I have 3 of them back there that I thought one of them was for sure dead, but I have a nice thistle there that's getting ready to bloom. And a hollyhock that came back from last year that I planted from seed. It's got a ton of blooms on it, my goodness. And apparently the Japanese beetles, I hate to bring it up, are not here yet, which is kind of late, I'm thinking. I thought that was an end of June deal. Anyway, the reason why I bring it up is because the Japanese beetles absolutely loved those hollyhocks last year. And there's no signs yet. So I'm happy about that. Another one of the green eye Rudbeckia blooming. And Snapdragons. And my drumstick alliums are starting. I have 100 of those coming for fall planting because I absolutely love them. I think they should be popping up in between all the different flowers. And they're more of almost a little bit of a burgundy color allium. Bees love them once they open. They just sway in the wind. They're just dainty and perfect. Here's some more. These lilies that are really getting tortured by the lily beetle. These are the white, super fragrant. I'll try to remember to put the name up of those as well. Again, not planted as thickly around them, so I don't know if that's the key or if it's the type, cultivar. I just don't know. We'll have to see. Here's a container that's looking really good, except for the fact that it's not level. I just noticed that. But I hit it all the time with the lawnmower. I don't mow my whole yard, full confession. I only mow the front and the side yard or around flower beds because I don't want the grass to mow into my flower bed, so I'm picky. So any spot that's picky, I do. But, so yeah, I need to adjust that. Anyway, back to the container. Those are dahlias. They're Cornell bronze. This is my first year with Cornell bronze, so I'm not sure how they'll look with this petunia, but this is another petunia that I planted from seed, and I'm loving it, mixing in with those dahlias. I also have to be careful because my clematis is going to start, oh look, it's going to bloom. I have my first dahlia bloom. So soon I'll get to see the color. It's wonderful. Yeah, I need to do something with that so it doesn't try to grab onto, which normally would be all right, but I really want to see those dahlia blooms. And so far, as of right now, I've decided to treat my dahlias as annuals and just purchase them every year. Such a waste of money, I realize. That's probably what some of you are thinking. But overwintering them in Zone 4B is not a lot of fun. Oh, and I have some verbena Bonariensis here that I have, you can see a little bit better what they have to offer. They are also so pretty when they're mixed in with other flowers in the landscape. Okay, there you have it. We'll end on a positive note here with our container that's doing the best out of all the containers. It's overachieving. And so far, those dahlias are like the perfect size. I had no idea what size they would get to be. And some dahlias can get to be 7 feet high. So thankful that they are not. All right, I hope you all have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next week. Bye.